I met a Gypsy.
I felt they were one of those teams that's like, but I'll tell you, like, JDR was cool, but I remember we wrote something and like the owner got pissed and like called
But
Razor
everyone's
X.
going to get pissed. Dude, I got bounced from Moto Concepts in WSX. Tony Alessi literally walked me out of the walked me out of the pits. I was filming Sealy and he's like, "You're not welcome in these pits." And I'm like, "Oh, what did I say? Did I talk shit on Vince Freeze?" "Oh no, I did. Yeah, I did." And then so I got bounced. So
when was this? Recent?
WSX in
the most recent one.
The one in Australia.
Because he was going to do I fucked myself. So all right, this is a great example of why people don't talk shit, right? Because I had held my tongue. I pride myself on not talking shit on riders. I'm a very like positive platform. Vince Freeze in Melbourne, I was like, dude, I'm so sick of this shit. Like that whole East Coast that he'd come, like that was pretty annoying. And then the Justin Brayton deal, and then Nicoletti came on the podcast. It was fresh in our minds, and we just like we let it eat. And then so at Melbourne, I'd spoke to Tony Alessi, and I was like, dude, we're doing the podcast, and he's like, I'm in, and that would be a fucking.
It would be a really good one.
Would have been a fire one.
Huge show, and I was so excited for it. He was literally going to do it the week he got back from Melbourne. But then me and Nicoletti did the podcast, and then we were talking shit on Vince, and then radio silence. So that's why people don't do it, because people can't sell. Dude, everyone hears everything. It's fucking annoying.
It's a small sport. It's a small sport. Like, you think LeBron hears the 98th rated podcast talking shit about him? Hell no, dude.
Yeah. Well, dude,
he knows Stephen A. Smith.
Well, even Tomac yesterday was like bringing up stuff on the podcast, and like I've got to keep my cool and be like.
Well, I think it's also speaks to your
I
popularity, right? Like 4 years ago, you probably could have said whatever, and no one's listening, right?
That's so like true.
Steve, I think we can probably get away with it because one, we're fairly new, and
someone would still.
Someone will hear it, but the problem
is you guys are well known enough.
Someone will hear it, and they won't really tell what was really said. They'll just say, "Hey, Tomac, the Vurb boys were talking shit on you."
Oh, it's funny.
Like, no, we weren't. What are you talking about?
It's funny. Like someone had told me I had a riff with Deegan through one of it. Maybe it was this film or something. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So he showed up to our Vurb Shred tour last year at
Reed's place.
At Reed's place, and I ran up with the camera. He's like, "Nah, dude, I'm not doing this for the Vurb camera." And I was like, wait, dude, let's squash this right now. Like, what's wrong? And he's like, I heard you said this, that, or the other. I'm like, I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, you didn't say that? I'm like, whatever it is you think I said or didn't say, I'm telling you, I would have been the one to say that. And I can promise you that is not how I think or feel, whatever. And then he's like, then he was like, all right, sick, dude. And we freaking fist bounced. And then he did 1,000 whips for me that day. But like,
also, like,
same thing. Like he thought I said something, maybe I did or didn't. I don't know. But hey, Deegs, you're fucking badass.
But the thing, like, I say this to people all the time. Like, I don't care about the comments. You can go on Vital MX, and there's like forum
there's always
posts.
Threads on you, bro.
Literally,
you do have some threads on you, buddy.
I actually didn't even know until like a week ago. Or there was
you got some threads.
And like, I went in, I read it, and I'm like, cool. Like, I literally don't give a fuck. The stuff with me and Pulp, I don't give a fuck. Like, my feelings are not in this in that way at all.
Do you take anything constructively, like when you read that, or do you just say screw all the comments?
Well, like, yes and no, though. Like, there's some stuff. I think you'd be an idiot not to like take some feedback. Like if things are saying, my dad used to say to me as a kid, if enough people call you a dickhead, you're probably a dickhead.
You're probably a dickhead.
But like when you're looking at, we're coming up on like 100 million views of the podcast, like total.
Hell, all right, here, let's get you a clap, dude. I don't know where the,
I think mine went away. God, Crane.
He's not, dude. This is a good song though. Let's 100 million views, dude.
Oh, hey, I got it.
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah. But so it's like, if let's say there's like 5,000 comments, bad comments on 100 million views, like what does that break down to in a percentage? So it's like,
that's true too.
There's some stuff that I will look at and I'll take on board. And then there's other things where like, I kind of have thought, like, you know, I'm a fairly introspective person, you know, and it's like, so the big ones are, he talks too much, and it's like, or he talks about himself, and it's like, I have a rebuttal for that. Like if someone wants to come at me with that, and I'll be like, I agree. But also I have people that have cried on the show. I have people that get extremely vulnerable. I'm bringing you stuff that no one's ever said
and that's
before.
how you break down the barriers.
Every episode. And why is that? Because I'll be vulnerable. I'll talk about my past. I'll talk about my child.
Yep.
People will go as deep as I'll go. And
they forget the cameras here and the mics there when you're being their friend and having a conversation.
Well, they're comparing the wrong things. They're acting like you're a journalist. You're not a journalist. You're a,
well, at that point in time, you're breaking the barrier of friendship.
Yeah. But to me, it's like Rogan, right? Like I don't consider Rogan a journalist. He is a very good.
And he wouldn't
interviewer.
Consider himself a journalist.
No, he's
I don't
a very
consider
good.
myself a journalist.
We don't either.
He's a very good interviewer, right? So to me, they're barking. They're looking in the wrong direction.
Right.
Weege is a journalist, right?
Weege is not going to tell you about like a time talking to Trey Kennard, right? So he said that he lost his dad. And bikes were like the thing that was his place. And then when he told that story, I was like, man, that's crazy because my granddad died. We went to the hospital. He died. We watched him die. And I was riding right before it happened. And I said to mum and dad, like, what do you want to do? And because we had to go to the track and they're like, well, someone can pack up your bike. And I was like, me and my brother both said, no, we just want to ride. So we literally went back to the track, cried in our helmets and just rode around for hours, you know? And it's like, Weege won't tell that story. That's nothing against Weege. That's not like his job. He's there to do a specific job. I'm there to like I've got this 3-hour block with these people and it's like, how can I relate to their experience? How can I,
and break down as many barriers as possible.
And so that's what I see as like, they're the conversations I enjoy having.
Right.
I know that people that do the show enjoy getting to tell that side of their story in like a safe space, you know? So like the criticism of you talk about yourself or you talk too much. It's like, cool. That's my answer to that. So it's like, and if it's not your style and you think I talk, then that's cool.
And guess
you
what?
Don't have to listen.
And you have a fan base now that loves your story just as much as they love the athletes that you have on. So like hearing your stories and your perspectives and things that you've done, some people get to live vicariously through that. So I mean, I think that is what it is.
I think it's also... Go ahead.
Oh, well, even like the swearing thing, like, oh, he swears so much. And it's like, okay, cool. But that's another way that I can break down this barrier of like, hey, bro, this ain't fucking formal. You can say and do whatever you want to do, man. Like there is no rules here. So this can go the way that you want to go. And when it was Kennard, I'd probably cussed once in that entire
because he doesn't curse.
Because I know he doesn't do it.
Right.
But guess what? I talk to a lot of these guys on a regular ass basis. We're actually friends. I know how the fuck they really talk. So I'm just going to be me and hopefully they can be them. And a lot of guys are more buttoned up than what they would be normally. But I got Brian Deegan's going fucking, so it's like, and to me, that's what I want because I want that. I'm making the content that I would like to listen to.
And that's what the viewer wants too. They want to see Brian or Trey or Chaz trying to who it is. They want to see two dudes talking and them being the real self, not like, my Dunlop sucked up really good at Washougal this weekend and I got a great start.
I curse a lot. Like in real life, oh my God.
I can tell you this. I'm not bleeping out all the bombs in this one. This one will be rated R.
Rated R, baby.
Rated R for
whatever. Do like the first minute. Do the first minute.
I'll give you an example.
Is that really what you do?
You do like the first few minutes. I've started to bleep out my shorts, my clips channel because I just want to make more money.
Have to, yeah.
But if you on the full stuff, if you go like the first 5 minutes, then you're pretty.
But I'll give you an example on criticism because I think we all can do better with thinking. Like I think if you called me or David Iser or Kevin Kelly or Jason Wygant or Steve Mathis called me and said, "Hey man, you need to work on this," I'd be like, "Oh, okay." Like some random guy who, like, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people that know things just because they're not in the media or podcast or whatever, right? Like, but it's very hard for me to take that criticism when, like, hey, dude, I don't criticize you about doing finance. I don't know about finance. Like,
my reply, if I ever reply to people, I'm like, dude, shoot me a link to your podcast.
Yeah, or shoot me a link to your finance company, and I will just start dogging on how you guys invested in 401ks that bombed. Were you talking that? All right, let's do that. Right. Like,
but I mean, and I've tried to get better. I keep more conscious of, and
you have to be like going back to your dickhead quote. You gotta be introspective and see and always work on becoming better and better. But like, look at what your platforms become. Yeah. It obviously means you've taken criticism the best you can, and you've grown it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gone anywhere.
It would have never gone because you would have had the same 40 people hating on
Obviously, people love the formula that you've created. And honestly, I love the 1v1 thing that you got going on. No one else has that level of
it's funny.
Of depth.
I was talking to him and I was like, dude, I was like, honestly, I don't have time to listen to your whole show, but I love your clips because like Scott Sipkovic, like we talked about it. Like I loved, because Mathis wrote that awesome No Fear story that I helped him with, that I was when I was at Racer X, but Scott wasn't in it. So like I was curious about that. I was curious about J Law, but like maybe I don't have time to listen to 3 hours of Scott. But like, dude, those 2 clips, like, dude, I'm in on these.
Jace has definitely figured out the damn formula honestly, over there. Good job, buddy.
It's 10 minutes, man. Like
I love that. I agree. The 10-minute ones are great for me too. I watch a lot of your 10-minute ones.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.